I'm coming back with a new updated 2028 election prediction. Now, I'm going to start making them probably only once a month now because, of course, the 2028 election is like 3 years away. And even though these dudes get a lot of views, I do really want to focus more on the midterms. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with all the safe states. Now, I'm not going to do VPs for this video. Tell me how y'all feel about that. I don't think Ohio will be safe, and honestly, Illinois probably won't be safe. Over the past few days, though, we have seen Trump's approval rating get a little bit better as it was at negative 8.1% average on October 2nd, and now it's October 10th, and it's only negative 6.6%. Which, at Biden's worst, I'm pretty sure Biden did a little bit better than this. Now, let's go to Gavin Newsom, who is still leading the polling mostly. As we see on average, Newsom is leading the polling on almost everything besides Vote Hub. And nationwide, on most polling, Gavin Newsom is leading. And even the polls he doesn't lead, he does come in second place. But Kamala Harris right now is still a very strong contender. But the general gist is that Gavin Newsom is the Democratic nominee right now. I do believe Colorado, Hawaii. I do think New Mexico can move up into that safe column as we saw in 2020, but definitely is shifting to the right a little bit. Go, sorry. Go give him Minnesota, Rhode Island, Maryland, DC. Probably not New Jersey. New Jersey may have to wait until 2020 or 2032 to become a safe state again. Uh, this district of Maine and Maine as a whole. And after the safe states, I have it as 160 to 125. Now we'll move on to the likelies, which I think Iowa will be likely as the Republicans, and as we saw in 2024, Trump did win it by 13%, but in 2016, Trump won it by 9%, then Trump won it by 8%, and even in 2012, Obama won it. So Iowa only recently has started moving to the right, and on a state level, their governor isn't the most popular governor in the world, and they do have I would say one of the more popular Republican figures in Iowa. Senator is retiring for the 2026 midterms, so Iowa as a whole isn't doing the best for Republicans, so probably will move down to maybe a 6 or 7% margin. I do think the same for Ohio, as JD Vance is a former senator from Ohio. That's definitely going to help him. And in 2024, Trump won it by 11%. And even in 2020, a really good year for the Democrats, Trump won it by 8%. So I think JD Vance will probably win it by those same margins. I don't think Gavin Newsom is as strong as a candidate as Biden. So I don't think Texas will go down to the 2020 margins, but maybe closer to 2016 margins. We could see maybe around 8% or maybe closer to 7.5% seems a little bit more realistic. I do think without Ron DeSantis as governor of Florida, we will see Florida move back to the 2020 margins, maybe even 2016 margins. But I think Florida may go down back to a 5 or 6% margin, as Ron DeSantis will have not been governor of Florida for 2 years then. And so there's a pretty good chance that, yes, Republicans overall aren't as popular in Florida, but if Ron DeSantis is on the Republican ticket, I could totally see Florida going to JD Vance by around 8%. I think Gavin Newsom takes this, oh, not that district, this district of Nebraska. I think he's probably easily good, still able to take New Mexico, New Jersey. And as we see with the Virginia's governor's race going on right now, all polling shows Democrats leading Virginia in a state election by around 7.5 points. I think Gavin Newsom will also lead it by around 7.5 points. I also do think Gavin Newsom will probably get Minnesota, but probably closer to around that 4 to 5% margin, and same with New Hampshire. Now, I do think Arizona will stick with J.D. Vance. Now, on a state level, Arizona has two Democratic senators and a Democratic governor, so I would not be surprised if we see Arizona shift to the left. But right now, just based off what we have, Trump won it by 5.5 points in 2024. And in 2020, even a good year for the Democrats with a strong candidate in Joe Biden. Um, the Dems still only won it by 0.31%. And in 2016, Trump won it by 3.5%. It's probably going to be by those 3.5% margins. I do think North Carolina will probably go JD Vance, but only by around the slimmest margins, 1.5 points, maybe. I think Wisconsin, and if Gavin Newsom picks someone like Pete Buttigieg or Gretchen Whitmer as his VP, I do think Michigan will be going to the Democrats. Now, I do think Nevada has a Republican governor, popular Republican governor, and overall has been shifting to the right the past few years. So I do think Nevada will stay in JD Vance's column. Now, we have very popular governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, leading the Democrats in Pennsylvania. And if we look at 2026 polling, Josh Shapiro is doing extremely well for the 2026 polling. So I would not be surprised if Gavin Newsom takes Pennsylvania. But with Trump's approval numbers evening back out, I could maybe see JD Vance taking it. Uh, so even if JD Vance does take Pennsylvania, I do think Gavin Newsom would take Georgia. I think even though I don't think JD Vance is the strongest candidate, I could definitely see something where Gavin Newsom takes Pennsylvania and JD Vance takes Georgia. Maybe. But anyway, thank you all for watching. As I said, Pennsylvania is a toss up. But thank you all for watching. You know what? I think I'm going to give Gavin Newsom Georgia since John Ossoff is doing very good in early polling in Georgia for the 2026 midterms. Anyway, thank you all for watching and peace out.